Life in America changed forever 22 years ago today.
Mostly dry for the rest of the work week across East Alabama. We'll have the complete forecast details straight ahead.
We made it through another weekend of high school football, and we'll tell you about some top performers on Friday night coming up in sports. EAN Local News starts now.
This segment of EAN Local News is brought to you by WM Grocery, located in Heflin, Wedowee, Roanoke, and in Piedmont.
Good evening, and thank you for watching East Alabama Now Local News for Monday, September the 11th, 2023. I'm Mike Stedham.
And I'm Katie Edwards.
Memorial ceremonies were held across the country today to mark the 22nd anniversary of September 11th, 2001. When almost 3,000 Americans were killed in the nation's worst terrorist attack. Locally, a memorial service was held this morning at the Oxford Civic Center to mark the exact moments that two airliners were flown into the World Trade Center towers in New York City. That attack also killed more than 100 people at the Pentagon in Washington and on board an airliner that had been hijacked to be flown into the U.S. Capitol building.
At noon today, another memorial service was held in Jacksonville for all the victims, including Army Major Dwayne Williams, a Jacksonville native killed in the Pentagon attack. He was the son of retired JSU employee Pearl Williams. The ceremony was hosted by Michael Abrams, a retired Army spokesman who is still involved in the local military community.
Every year we remember the pledge all of us made 21 years ago during the first anniversary of the 9/11 attack, that together as a community, when we dedicated this monument, we pledged to honor the hero of Jacksonville, Army Major Dwayne Williams, and the other 3,000 heroes who died during the 9/11 terrorist attack on the United States of America.
Also at today's ceremony in Jacksonville, Dwayne Williams' brother, Roy Williams, called on the community to unite in honoring the victims of 9/11 and remember the wave of patriotism that followed the attack.
When we return, Jacksonville State University reports another record student enrollment.
Since 1993, WM Grocery has been a major part of our local community. WM offers the very best in fresh produce and an outstanding meat department. WM also has many local products not found anywhere else and fresh sushi every day. If you need an event catered, come see Mrs. K at any WM store. Curbside pickup is also available for your online grocery orders. Be sure to download the WM app for all the deals of the week and shopper rewards. Go check them out today at any of their locations.
We take pride in our community and appreciate your business.
This segment of EAN Local News is brought to you by Waltrip Manufacturing, metal buildings made right here in Calhoun County.
For the third consecutive year, Jacksonville State University has broken its all-time enrollment record. The fall census numbers show an overall head count of 9,672 students. JSU also continues to see an increase in continuing and dual enrollment students, posting its highest numbers this fall with 1,122 accelerated high school students getting a head start on their college studies by taking courses in person and online at the university. Since 2020, the number of dual enrollment students has increased by 34%. JSU President Don Killingsworth says the university will begin to place a greater emphasis on recruiting dual enrollment and post-traditional students while maintaining its traditional recruitment and retention efforts. Although COVID cases have been making something of a comeback in recent weeks, the nature of the disease seems to be changing. EAN News producer Laura Lafferty was doing some behind-the-scenes reporting about COVID when she herself became sick with the virus 2 weeks ago. Today, Laura joins us to share her experience with COVID this fall.
Thanks, Katie. Yeah, when I got COVID, I was already experiencing cold symptoms, so it was really interesting because I could see the symptoms distinctly progress from like typical cold to COVID. And what I noticed right up front was that I had this really sharp headache behind the eyes coupled with fatigue, and then later in the day I started experiencing an elevated heart rate.
Laura had spoken with health professionals at the Alabama Department of Health and at UAB Hospital about the latest variants of the virus in August, so she thought she knew what to expect.
Day 2, I had more flu-like symptoms. So I was experiencing still a lot of fatigue, still congestion, but also body aches and fever, and still that elevated heart rate was noticeable to me.
Those health professionals told Laura that the most recent variants of COVID were less likely to result in a loss of taste and scent than the variants that people had early in the pandemic. But Laura wasn't so lucky. She said her flu-like symptoms disappeared on day 3, but so too did her sense of taste and smell.
And something really interesting happened on day 3, which is that I tasted some gourmet cookies at around 5 p.m. and I could taste all the range of flavors in those cookies, which included cinnamon and peanut butter. And then like 2.5 hours later, I took another bite of those cookies and I was totally unable to detect those flavors like cinnamon and peanut butter, but I could still taste the sweetness of the cookie itself. So I did lose both my sense of smell and my sense of taste, and that occurred on day 3.
Laura said she also experienced additional symptoms that are characteristic of COVID.
Day 4, my symptoms continued to get a little bit better. The congestion was gone. Again, I hoped and believed that I was getting better, but what I found is that the fatigue and even some brain fog were problematic at that phase. And then those symptoms remained, the fatigue, the brain fog, for several days after that, but slowly dissipated. And by day 10, right on time, my symptoms were primarily gone. I still have a little congestion, but overall, I'm just fine.
One important indication from health professionals about the most recent COVID cases proved true in Laura's case. The illness did not cause her to experience lower respiratory congestion.
And I was really relieved with this episode of COVID as compared to a previous episode of COVID about a year and a half ago to find that this time the illness didn't cause a lot of lower respiratory problems, which I think have been a cause for concern for so many people with the illness.
When we come back, we'll tell you the whole story about a successful golf tournament.
For metal buildings in Alabama and the Southeast, Waldrop Manufacturing is your one-stop source. A Waldrop metal building provides the coverage and protection your investments need. They specialize in carports, RV covers, portable buildings, and storage buildings. Stop paying rent for storage. With Waldrop's price per foot, you can actually save money by buying straight from the manufacturer. Waldrop buildings are guaranteed because Waldrop manufactures buildings with U.S. Steel right here in Calhoun County. Waldrop Manufacturing, serving the entire Southeast. Give them a call today. This segment of EAN Local News is brought to you by Oxford Lumber. Come visit any of our locations in Oxford, Jacksonville, Talladega, and Roanoke.
The Anniston Police Foundation's charity golf tournament, which supports the city's youth programs, announced that this year's event raised $5,000 that will go towards the Anniston Youth Empowerment Fund. The Anniston Police Foundation was created to help raise funds to support the APD and their charitable efforts throughout the community. This volunteer organization serves without pay to ensure that every dollar raised is given back out to the departments and their programs.
And it was a lovely weekend, wasn't it?
It truly was. Yes, it was.
I was caught in a surprise downpour up in Huntsville. All of a sudden, it just came out of nowhere.
'Tis the season, I guess.
But most of the time, sunny, beautiful. How much longer is that going to go on?
Well, I don't know, but I know someone who does. John Holder joins us now in the EAN Weather Center. John, tell us about the weather.
The weekend was very nice across East Alabama, and most of the week ahead is looking pretty good all across Calhoun and Cleburne counties. We'll have the complete forecast details up next.
For over 60 years, Oxford Lumber has been servicing our area, and our customer service has always been our main focus. Our customer service is what sets us apart from anyone else. From the moment you enter, our highly trained staff will treat you like family.
To enthusiastically provide total customer satisfaction within a positive and self-fulfilling employee relations environment. Visit us at any of our 4 locations or at oxfordlumber.com.
Well, no doubt it is summertime across East Alabama still. We've still got several more weeks of summertime weather, and today, no doubt about it, 92 for the high today. about 5 degrees above the average. Nighttime low, 68 this morning. Again, a couple of degrees above the average. Our record high temperature, 97 degrees, not very far away from that actually. Our record low at 47. Look at these sunrise and sunset times. Now the sun not rising until 6:25 tomorrow morning. And look at that sunset. The sun setting now before 7 o'clock in the evening as the days continue to shorten. Weather on your street for your Monday night. Going to take you out to Louise Drive in the southeast part of Jacksonville. Really nice neighborhood there. Partly cloudy skies tonight, 67 for the low. Maybe a little pop-up shower early in the evening, but most of the evening should be rain-free in Jacksonville and all across East Alabama. Now tomorrow, we're going to see a general increase in the coverage of showers and thunderstorms. The showers will be more numerous tomorrow on Oscar Lane out in Choccolocca. That's in Pine Hill Estates. And again, it's going to be hot tomorrow, away from those storms. 91 for the high, but the chance of rain tomorrow goes from 20% today to 40% tomorrow. So more folks than today going to see one of those scattered showers and thunderstorms. For the rest of the work week that's coming up across East Alabama, we're going to trend drier after tomorrow on Elm Street in southwest Anniston on the south end of town. It is going to be plenty of sunshine. Temperatures in the 80s. We'll keep a small chance of rain in the forecast every day this week, but those rain chances are not very high at all. You'll see those small rain chances reflected in our 7-day forecast every day. All the way through next Monday, we're just going to broad brush about a 1 in 5 chance of a shower or thunderstorm with the heating of the day. So we can't promise you a totally rain-free day coming up in the next 7 days. But what we can tell you is most folks on any one given day going to be rain-free. The chance of rain only about 1 in 5. Not only do we have some more sunshine, drier air coming in, but also some cooler temperatures coming. We'll be in the 90s, it looks like, for the last time tomorrow for this stretch. And then we're back into the mid-80s. A lot of 84-degree temperatures you see coming up Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, into the weekend. As a matter of fact, by early next week, we could be down in the low 80s for daytime highs and some low 60s for nighttime lows. So again, some very comfortable and pleasant weather. No extreme weather of any sort coming across East Alabama for the next several days. You'll see tomorrow, this is the map, kind of shows where we expect the rain to be. The further east you go, the higher rain chances. So you see right around a 40 to 50% chance of rain here in the eastern half of north central Alabama. But away from those storms, it's hot. 92, 90 in Gadsden, 92 in Anniston. Most folks will be in the low 90s and about a 40% chance of a pop-up shower or thunderstorm. Hey, don't forget to check right back here at 6 a.m. sharp on weekday mornings, actually every day of the week. And you'll have our breakfast and morning forecast coming up for all of East Alabama to start your workday. That comes before sunrise now, as we're at 6 o'clock with the sun rising tomorrow at 6:25. Coming up next in sports, Chase Robinson standing by. Going to talk about some of the top players in East Alabama from the week in high school football. Chase?
Thanks, John. What a Friday night of high school football in East Alabama. And as we do every Monday, we like to recognize local players who showed out on Friday night with our EA in Sports Top Dudes of the Week. Our first Top Dude of the Week for Week 2 is Jesse Baswell of Ohatchee. Baswell was a huge part of the 34-33 win Friday night over Westbrook Christian. He finished with 17 carries for 160 yards and 4 touchdowns. He also caught 61 yards on 3 catches and a touchdown. Tip of the hat to Jesse Baswell, one of our top dudes of the week. Another one is quarterback for the Cleburne County Tigers, Hunter Gore. Gore was 8 of 12 passing for 104 yards and 2 touchdowns as the Tigers rolled to a 42-13 win over Talladega in the region opener. Our third EAN Sports top dude of the week is Oxford's D.K. Wilson. Wilson had a great night Friday as he ran 6 times for 112 yards and touchdown runs of 42 yards and 51 yards. Also caught a touchdown for a total of 3 touchdowns in Oxford's 42-13 win over Shades Valley. Today, the Atlanta Braves called up former Oxford Yellow Jacket Jackson Stevens to the team's 40-man roster. Stevens has been a part of the organization since 2022 and has spent this season in Gwinnett on the AAA team for the Braves. A season ago, Stevens was signed out of the Mexican League to the Braves. He finished last season with a .369 ERA in 39 appearances with 1 start, 2 saves. This season in Gwinnett, he has a .270 ERA in 18 games with 33 innings pitched. He has 34 strikeouts on the year. Stevens is part of that doubleheader today as the Braves are at the Phillies. Jacksonville State made the trip to Conway, South Carolina over the weekend as they fell to Coastal Carolina for the first loss of the season. It was a close game of the first half with a halftime score of 10-9 in favor of the Chanticleers, but after a 13-point third quarter for Coastal, they went ahead and never looked back. Coastal Carolina won 30-16, handing the Gamecocks their first FBS loss. Jack State has an open week this week. They'll return to the field on September 23rd as they host Eastern Michigan. And that's it for sports. Let's send it back over to Mike and Katie.
Thank you for watching East Alabama Now Local News.
You can find us here online every weekday evening on either Facebook or YouTube. Just go to our video feed and watch the news whenever it's convenient for you.
We'll see you back here Tuesday for your news on your schedule.